full detailed explanations that would help you solve similar questions if you see them. All right? Okay, so now these are the questions as usual. I will show you the questions from 21 to 40. Now join me while we solve. So I believe you have your pen, your paper with you there. Remember that the use of calculator is not allowed. Okay, so if you are the kind of student that at any slightest thing you're carrying calculator 2 times 4, you don't want to stress your brain, you are pressing calculator, please start now to stress your brain so that you get used to these things. Okay, all right, so let's roll quickly. So number 21 question, in a basket of fruits there are 6 grapes, 11 bananas, and 13 oranges. Now, if one fruit is picked at random, first of all, how many fruits are there altogether? You know that the reason why I'm being this detailed is so that you can understand. If this were to be an exam I'm writing and is an objective, I don't need to put in these details. I will go straight and sum these at once. So 6 plus 11 will give us 17. 17 plus 13 will give us 30 fruits, right? Okay, now the question says that if one fruit is chosen at random, so we don't know what it is, we just dip our hand in the basket and then pick a fruit. Now, what's the probability rather, that the fruit is either a grape or a banana? Now, whenever you see or in probability, you know that it is addition. All right. So how many grapes are there? We have 6. 6 over 30, or that is plus 11 over 30. Now, since we have the same denominator, that will be 17 over 30, as simple as ABC. So proceeding to the next question, number 22. Question says, calculate the interior angle of a 5-sided polygon. Okay, all over n, or n minus 4 times 90 degrees over 4, over n rather. Okay, so now in the question, what's our n? Our n is 5. So we have 5 minus 2 times 180 over 5. And what's 5 minus 2? That's 3. 3 times 180 over 5. So from here, 5 into 18 will give us 3 remainder 3. So we have 30 here. 5 into 30, we have 6. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 3, 9, plus 1, 10. So we have 108 degrees. So moving to the next question, number 23. A banker spent 1 over 5 of his salary. Let his salary be X. Now, this kind of question comes out a lot in WAEC. So you need to know how to solve a very simple question that has to do with fraction. Now, if his salary is X and then he spent 1 over 5 of it, what is off? 1 over 5 of X. Off is multiplication, right? So that would mean 1 over 5 times X, which is 5x over 1x rather, over 5. Now you interpret the question as it comes. Now, if he spent x over 5 of his salary, what is left first? That would be x minus x over 5. Do you get it? It's just like saying I earn 50,000 every month and then I spent 1 over 5 of it on transport. So 1 over 5 of 50,000, that should give me what? 10,000. So what is left of my salary will be what? 50,000 minus 10,000, and that is what? 40,000. So in this case, we don't know the salary, we know that it is X. And 1 over 5 of it is spent on shirts. So that 1 over 5 will give us X over 5. So X over 5 was spent on shirts. So to know the remaining salary, remove X over 5 from X. Good. So when we take LCM of the denominator, so LCM of 1 and 5 is 5. So we have 5x minus x, and that will give us 4x over 5. So this is the remaining salary after taking out the portion for shirt. Now 1 over 3 of the remainder on transport. So when you are taking 1 over 3 off, the 1 over 3 will no longer be 1 over 3 of x, but 1 over 3 of the remainder. Okay, so 1 over 3 of 4x over 5. So we've already known that of is multiplication. So we have this. So multiplying, we'll have 4x over 15. So what is this 4x over 15? What was spent on transport? Now, if he keeps the rest, so what will be the rest? Remember the remaining initially, just like the scenario I gave using 50,000 as my salary as an example. Remember I had 40,000 left, right? So that 40,000, imagine if I spend 1 over 10 of it on fruit. 1 over 10 of it, that will be 4,000, right? So to know what is left, I will remove 4,000 from the 40. So to know what is left, to get the fraction left, we would remove 4x over 15 from 4x over 5. Okay? So taking LCM of the denominator, we will have 15. 5 into 15 is 3. 3 times 4, 12x minus 4x. So what do we have there? We have 8x over 15. Good. Now, the fraction left, therefore, the fraction left is 8 over 15. Please do well to drop questions. If you need further explanations, do well to notify me, all right? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and recommend your friends to join us. Okay, so moving to the next question. It says, find the probability of getting an even number in a single roll of a six-sided dice. Now, a six-sided dice, for those of us that play Ludo, that's that seed that you put in the cup and then you shake it, choco choco choco, and throw it. That is your die or dice, as the case may be, right? Okay, now the probability of getting an even number, first of all, you ask yourself, how many even numbers are here? 2 is an even number, 4 is an even number, 6 is an even number. We have half as our answer. Alright, so we move to the next question, question number 25. One of my favorites. Integrate y is equal to 4x cubed plus 2x plus cos x. Okay, now we're going to be integrating this 1. So that means the integral of y becomes the integral of 4x cubed plus 2x plus cos x. So we see that the independent variable there is x. So we're going to be working with respect to that x. So now, like I said, integrating 1, we'll have this plus the integral of 2x with respect to x plus the integral of cos x with respect to x. So integrate 1 and add everything together. So now if you integrate 4x cubed, that's add 1 to the power over 4, right? Plus there's a constant, but since it's one question that was splitted. So instead of adding constant, let's just leave the constant and bring it in at the end of the day. Do you get it? All right. So plus 2x raised to power 1 plus 1. So please, the denominator I am writing, this 2 here is a function of this, not this, right? That's the sum of the powers. Okay. Now, if you integrate cos x, you have sin x. Then I'll bring in my constant. Okay. So here 4 will cancel 4. So we have x raised to the power of 4. 2 will cancel 2. We have x raised to the power of 2, that's x squared, plus sin x plus c. As simple as ABC. So the next question, you have to simplify. Minus log in base 10 of 0.00001. All right, so to do that, I'm going to keep this minus 1. The minus wouldn't have been there. Okay. All right. So we have any log in its base is 1, remember. So let's bring this one down here. So that we'll have minus 5 log 10 in base 10. So since any log in its base is 1, we'll have minus, open your bracket, minus 5 times 1 is still minus 5, times minus, you have 5 as the answer. And this question, if you look at the options, you will see 5, you will see minus 5. So that is the reason why you have to be extremely careful. Okay, so moving to the next question. Number 27. So the question says a chord of a circle of radius. So you have your circle. So remember that a chord is any line that passes from a point on the circumference to another point on the circumference, right? So if it has a radius, for you to talk about radius, there should be a center of a circle, because a radius runs from the center to any point on the circumference, right? Good. So this is your radius, which is 17 cm. So we have the same 17 cm here. Now the chord is 30 cm long. So that means you have 15 cm here, you have 15 cm there. So what's the question? The question says calculate the distance between the center of the circle and the chord. So picking your right angle triangle, you have 15 cm, you have 17 cm, and you have your x. So using Pythagoras rule, you have 17 squared minus 15 squared to be equal to x squared. Okay, so 17 times 17, that will give us 289 minus 225 is equal to x squared. So when we subtract, 9 minus 5 gives us 4, 8 minus 2 gives us 6. So since we are looking for x, we take square root or multiply the powers of both sides by half. So this cancels, squares cancels root. The square root of 64 is 8. That means the distance between the center of the circle and the chord is 8 cm. Alright? So the next question, question number 28. It says, find the limit of y. So y is x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x minus 12 all over x minus 2 as x goes to 2. Alright? As x goes to 2. Now, before we proceed, may I tell you that whenever you see this kind of question, that is limit as x goes to 2. And unfortunately or fortunately, the infinity is even in the option. And then you will shade it and go your way. If you even decide to choose 0, 0 is still there. You will still choose the 0 and go your way. So the right thing to do is to break this function, break the numerator rather. So since the numerator is a polynomial in degree 3, if it were to be a quadratic expression, we would have just factorized, right? So the first thing to do is to divide that numerator by the denominator. So if x divide x cubed, we'll have x squared. So x squared times x will give us x cubed. And then x squared times minus 2 will give us minus 2x squared. So if we subtract, this will give us 0. Minus 2x squared plus 2x squared will give us 0. Then we'll bring down 6x minus 12. Now x divided 6x will give us what? Plus 6. 6 times x will give us 6x. 6 times minus 2 will give us minus 12. So the fraction has been terminated. The fraction has been terminated. So what are the two factors we have? We have x minus 2. We have x squared plus 6. Now we have our target. You will see. Now you will see that the numerator now has something that the denominator has. So this function can be rewritten as x minus 2 x squared plus 6 over x minus 2. So from here, this will cancel out. So if it cancels out, what do we have left? We have x squared plus 6 left. Do you see that? So now limit as x tends to 2 becomes 2 squared plus 6. And what's our 2 squared? 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 6 will give us 10. Okay, so I believe you've learned how to solve this. So anytime you see a question on limit, please don't be too fast to substitute, to replace x with what you have. Okay, the next question number 29. That has to do with sequences and series. Number 29. Okay, so the second term of a GP, let's go straight, that's AR, is 1. And then the fifth term of the same GP is 1/8. Find the common ratio. So we call this equation 1, we call this equation 2. So what do? We can divide equation 2 to be divided by equation 1. We're not subtracting, we are dividing. Alright? Why are we dividing instead of subtracting? This is GP, geometric progression. Remember, to get the next term, it is by multiplication. Multiply the first term by the ratio. Unlike AP, which is addition and subtraction. Alright, so this is multiplication and division. That's why we divide when it has to do with GP. Okay, so we have AR raised to power 4 divided by AR, and that is equal to 1/8 divided by 1. So dividing, A will take A to give us 1. Then using indices, we'll have R raised to power 4 minus 1, because the power of R here is 1. We are subtracting because it's division. 1/8 divided by 1 will still give us 1/8. So we have R raised to power of 3 is equal to 1/8. So what do we do to get this? Multiply both sides by the multiplicative inverse of the power of 3, which is 1/3. Multiply the power of 1/8 by 1/3, so that when this cancels this, you have R raised to power 1, which is 1. So 1/8 raised to power 1/3, that will be taking the cube root of 1/8. The cube root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 times 1 remains 1, while the cube root of 8 is 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 will give us 8. Okay, so that is for number 29. So moving forward to number 30, the question says an amount of 600,000, that is A, equals 600,000 naira was realized from a principal Y saved for 5%. That 5% is our rate for 4 years. Time is what? 4 years. So the question says find Y. Okay, now remember that this amount is principal plus what? Interest. So let's find interest. Interest is equal to principal Y times rate 5 times time 4 all over 100. Now the question is, what is interest? Remember we said that amount is principal plus what? Interest. So if amount is principal plus interest, it means that interest, to get interest, we'll take P over to this side, just like saying make interest the subject. So amount minus principal is equal to what? Interest. Now, why do we need this information? You cannot have two unknowns in one equation except it is simultaneous. Otherwise, you can't solve for I and Y at the same time. So we're going to be replacing this I with A minus P. And our A is already 600,000. So we'll have 600,000. What's our principal? Our principal is Y is equal to 20Y over 100. So before cross multiplying, let's reduce this. So these two will cancel 10 to give us 5. So when that happens, we can cross multiply. So we'll have our 5 into 600,000 minus Y to be equal to Y. So when we open the brackets, opening the brackets, we will have 30 minus 5Y is equal to Y. So when we collect like terms, minus 5Y will go over here, right? So we have, that's 3 million is equal to 6Y. So dividing both sides by 6, 6 will cancel. 6 divide 30 will give us 5. So when we write down our Y is equal to, write your 5. How many zeros are left? We have 5 zeros left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means our principal is 500,000. Okay, now the next question. We have a progression 3, 5, 7, 9. Then the expression continues. So we are to find the n minus 210. We are to find the n minus 210 of this progression. Okay, now to be able to find it, what's our first term here? Our first term is 3. So what's our difference here? Our difference is the second term minus the first term will give us 2. Third term minus second term 2. That means our difference is 2, right? So it means that generally in this sequence, that the nth term of this sequence, for any nth term of this sequence, we would have, how was 7 gotten, for instance? 7 was gotten by A plus So now for every nth term, we have A plus n minus d, minus 1 times d rather. So now how did we get 7? You know 7 is the third term here, right? Okay, so that is A plus 3 minus 1 will give us 2. What's the difference? The difference is 2, right? So we have 3 plus 4, and that is 7. Okay, so for any nth term of this sequence, we have it to be A plus n minus 1 times d. So for n minus 2, for n minus 2, we'll have 3 plus n minus 2 minus 1 times 2, which is the difference, right? So that will be n plus n minus 3 plus n minus 3 times 2. So to open the brackets, we'll have 3 plus 2n minus 6. So if we collect like terms, 3 minus 6 will give me minus 3. And that's the answer. So the next question, number 33, it says find the derivative of y is equal to sine 4x. Y is equal to sine 4x be equal to 4x. Must you use letter U? You can use V, you can use any one, but avoid x and y. So now if U is equal to 4x, then y is equal to sine U. So we're going to be differentiating U with respect to x, and then we're going to be differentiating y with respect to what? U. It's always with respect to that independent variable. So if I differentiate U with respect to x, what do I have? I have 4. And then if I differentiate y with respect to U, I have what? I have cos U. Now in chain rule, dy dx, I'll still drop a video on derivatives. Dy dx is simply your du dx times dy du. So when that happens, you see that this will take this. You have your dy dx, right? So that's the essence of this. You multiply to get your dy dx. So multiplying, we will have 4 times cos u. And that will give us what? 4 cos u. But remember we said let u be equal to 4x, right? So we're going to take back our value for u, and that will be 4 cos 4x. Okay, so moving to the next question, 34. The question says that area, or A rather, is equal to theta over 360 pi r squared. And we are to make theta subject of this formula. Now to start with, let's express this properly as a single fraction so that we can cross multiply. So we'll have theta pi r squared over 360. So if you cross multiply here, you will have 360a to be equal to theta pi r squared. So since you're looking forward to making theta subject, you divide both sides by pi r squared. So when we divide both sides by pi r squared, you have our theta to be equal to 360a over pi r squared. As simple as that. So the next question that should be 35. The question says find the minimum value of the function 4 minus 4x. Now to find the value of x, before we talk about minimum value, there has to be a turning point, right? So at that turning point, the first derivative is equal to 0. So equating minus 4 minus 4x to 0 to find our x, we'll collect like terms, carry minus 4 to the other side, and when we do that, we will have minus 4x is equal to 4. So when we divide both sides by minus 4, our x is minus 1. So now this minus 1, it means that, that means equal to 2 minus 4x minus 2x squared. So anywhere we see x, we put minus 1 because we are looking for y, the minimum value. So we'll have 2 minus 4 into minus 1 minus 2 into minus 1 squared. So that would mean 2 plus 4, because minus times minus is plus, minus 1 squared will give us 1. 1 times 2, 2. So what is our answer? Our answer is 4. Okay. So the next question, number 35. The question says, if the probability of death is Q and that of survival is P, find the probability of one death and one survival in an accident involving 2 persons. So probability of death is Q. Probability of survival is P. Now, if 2 persons are involved, that means picking the first person, if the first person is dead, it means the second person survived. Or if the first person survived, it means the second person is what? Is dead. So remember we've said earlier that OR is what? Addition in probability, in math generally. So adding these two, PQ is the same thing as QP. They are cumulative, right? So when we add these two, what do we have? We have 2PQ or 2QP as the case may be. Okay. So going to the next one, that's number 36. Here I have 90. So you see this is bigger than this. That means this is 30. Why this is 60 degrees. So moving to the next question, question number 37. We are to convert 137 to base 5. So to convert from base 10 to base 5, how do I know it's in base 10? Because no base was indicated. That means it's in the natural base. So to convert from base 10 to base 5, I will divide by 5 and pick the remainder. So 5 into 13, I have 2 remainder 3. 5 into 37, I have 7 remainder 2. So 5 into 27, I also have 5 remainder 2. 5 into 5, I have 1 remainder 0. And 5 into 1, I have 0 remainder 1. So by the time I'll draw my arrow from down to up, picking my remainders, I have 1, 0, 2, 2 in base 5. All right, to the next question, number 38. It says that is partly constant, and I've said it before that anytime you see this variation, especially partial variation, is a must know for Jamb. All right. Now, immediately you see P being partly constant, just put your equality sign, and partly varies with what? With Q. So what happens? When P is 32, Q is 16. And when P is 20, Q is 12. So we see that we have two pairs of linear equation and we'll solve simultaneously for A and B. So since the coefficients of A and B are the same in both equations, we will subtract. So here you have 12 is equal to 0 plus 4B. So since A has been eliminated, we find B by dividing both sides by the coefficient of B rather, which is 4. So we'll have our B to be equal to 3. So substituting into any of the equations to find A, we'll have A plus 12 times 3 to be equal to 20 is equal to A plus 36. So if we collect like terms, A is equal to 20 minus 36, and that is minus 16. So having known your A and your B, before you go further to solve the question there, the next thing is to find the relationship or the connecting formula. So we have P to be equals minus 16 plus 3Q. All right. So now the question says that we should find P when Q is 28, right? When Q is 28. So we simply, in this relationship or the connecting formula, substitute the value of Q there to find P. 3 into 28. So your P becomes minus 16 plus 84. And that will give us 68. As simple as ABC. Okay, now question number 39. Now the word handia, please, permutation is a must know if you are getting ready for Jamb. Permutation and combination, a must know. Now, how many ways can this word be arranged? The first thing to check is how many letters are there in the word. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 letters. The second question is, do we have any digits repeated? No digit. So we simply have 7 factorial. All right. That is 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And that will give us 5,040 ways. Okay, so for today's class, the last question we have a table. Okay, now the question says from the table above, we are to estimate the mode of the distribution. Now, since it's an objective question, I wouldn't waste my time writing the formula for mode of a grouped data. All right. So what will I do? Now, mode is actually the number with the highest frequency, and the highest frequency here is 12. Now, the class interval for that is 30 to what? To 39. So what do I need to do to find the class size? And how do I find the class size? 30 plus 39 over 2. So if I add 30 to 39, I will have 69 over 2. 2 divided 6 will give me 3. 2 divided 9 will give me 4 remainder 1. So I have half, which is 0.5. So this is my median. So at this point, we come to the end of today's Jamb class. I hope you enjoyed it. So please do well to practice more, and please give me feedback. If there's a question you need further explanations, do not hesitate to reach out. Like, comment, share, and invite your friends. See you in the next class in the next